Yo, we got a special guest on the channel, but he's not really a special guest. I've been working with so many people, but I'll never forget my roots. Me and Joe have been having draft talks literally since 2018. It's 2024, 6 years in the game. If you guys remember, what was it? What was our show name, Joe? We had
Cowboys huddle.
we had the huddle. Those episodes are still on iTunes. I'm very proud of our work, Joe. I'm very proud of our friendship. And when it comes to a person who knows the Cowboys, knows the draft, um, is really one of the realest people in the community. Let me set the table real quick. Joe told me preseason, right? And everybody knows that I'm extremely optimistic. Extremely optimistic. Joe Rodriguez told me Cowboys blog, Cat Mode, told me this team was very top heavy. He said it was very top heavy and that we were in a downward spiral and that you were a few injuries away from being a bad team, did nothing in free agency. And he actually, and with the optimism that I had, I said, well, Joe, they could possibly draft, they could
Yeah.
possibly, and he said, no, this team is going to be a bad team. And I mean, everybody can act like they knew it now, but Joe knew it back then. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. And yeah, shout out to that, man. I hate being right sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But writing was on the wall
Yeah.
leading into the season, so we're seeing the ultimate of disasters come to fruition.
Joe, let me ask you, what did you know preseason before we even get into draft talk? This is what we do, so we'll give these people a good show. But what did you know preseason about this team that made you say like this was going to be a disaster? Because like people called you negative, and it was just like you
Yeah.
knew you knew that not only that they wouldn't be good, you knew that it would be a disaster. Like you really knew. Like I have to give you your flowers that this team would not be good. What did you know, Joe?
It's just part of it is the game here in Dallas. I call it a game because it is. You have a small window of hitting on these coaches. Jerry gave Garrett a big leash.
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy, obviously, he's on a 4-year deal. This fifth year is a lame duck. That's what it is. The lame duck. When they didn't extend him or give him, they should have even given him a fake 2-year extension. That would probably have helped this a little bit.
Yeah.
But to go into the season as a lame duck, nobody's gonna put the effort in, man. I've compared this to having a substitute teacher when
Yeah.
when you're a kid, you have a substitute teacher. Everybody's clowning around, screwing around. When we get a new teacher in here,
Yeah.
they will be focused again, and we'll be better. But the all in from Jerry Jones, I think that was the nail in the coffin. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The lame duck season, the all in crap, and then nothing. There was nothing behind it.
Yeah.
He was just moving his lips, and
Yeah.
now everything you hear from him, there's nothing behind it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be honest. This will be probably one of the more eventful. The good thing I'm literally waiting for the season to be over just because I think there's a lesson to be learned in a lot of this. I think there's a lot of Cowboys fans who, oh, you know, we can handle being bad. Well, you can't. You guys are freaking out. You guys don't know what's going to happen, and we'll talk about some draft needs. You guys can handle it. I mean, there's people who are ready to not be fans of the team. I'll always be a fan of this team. I mean, it's call me crazy, call me whatever. I'm just that type of loyal. Number two, and most importantly, I think that some of the moves that the fans called for are some of the reasons why this team is in flux. The constant drafting linemen, the constant not bringing playmakers in, the constant thought that a guy like Rico Dowdle was good enough. And I've done content on Rico. He's shown flashes. He's not good enough. Deuce Vaughn is not good enough. Zeke, there's people out there who believe that Zeke is good enough.
Yeah.
Zeke, we got to understand the Patriots, who are the most talent empty team. They don't have any talent on their team. They were okay with saying, "Nah, Zeke, we're good. It didn't work out, fine." And then obviously, with Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's this. If this was 2018, 2019, yeah, you'd be lucky, thankful to have Dalvin Cook, but not good enough. Then you look at the O line. You look at guys like Terrence Steele, who I'm listening to everybody in the offseason tell me about Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton working with Duke Manyweather and whatever, Merriweather.
Mm.
And well, they both gotten worse. And there's people who tell me, oh, yeah, man, Terrence Steele, he's going to be better after the knee. He's gotten worse. It's Guyton has clearly, to me, in my eyes, been the better lineman than Terrence Steele. But hey, like I was a big proponent of getting a receiver in here. 2 years ago, I was a big proponent of getting a running back in here in that draft with Tajay Spears, Jahmyr Gibbs. Everybody told me, well, you don't draft a running back that high. Let's fix the O line. At some point, you have to coach this O line, stop drafting linemen, and start getting some playmakers. Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. The list goes on. I mean, hell, even some of these receivers, Lad McConkey that went after Dallas drafted, they're
Mm-hmm.
all making plays. I
Yeah.
like Tyler Guy and I like Cooper Beebe. I think they're going to be good. But this is my point about, when it comes to this quarterback, he needs help. It just is what it is. And that's not even to talk about guys like Keon Coleman, who I said would be good. You look at him in Buffalo, he's playing good football. These are guys that we talked about, Joe. And so some of the stuff that the fans have constantly, belabored, Jerry needs to do this, and I guess one of the things that he has missed on or hasn't been active in is free agency. I get that, but free agency has burned this team over the years, right? So I think that this is what you get, right? You get now a year where you're going to be drafting in the top 8. I only see one more win on this schedule, Joe. Just being honest. I see one more win. You'll be drafting in the top 8 and let a Cleveland win, let a Jags win, let a team like that win. Now you can be drafting the top 5. Here's my thinking, Joe. You
Mm-hmm.
get into that top 5, every position on the roster is evaluated. You bring in a new coach, every position on the roster is evaluated. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on with mistakes, Joe, but
Yeah.
I guess we'll turn it here, Joe. From what you know and what you watched on this team, is the offense a bigger problem? Is the defense a bigger problem?
It's definitely the offense. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Dallas Cowboys, they're legends, on that side of the ball. You think about all the have been on even but the offensive side, those are the guys that are your splash guys, your quarterback, your receiver, your running back, your tight end. Right now, we really don't have any of that. CeeDee Lamb
Mm.
is probably the only one. And honestly, man, I don't want to see Lamb out there anymore. I know he's trying his butt off, but at this point, I would mothball him, avoid injury, because if you sustain a catastrophic injury this late in the season,
That is so true, Joe.
you're not gonna have him next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll be screwed. So this team, this team is really weird, bro. The way they operate. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, Lamb, you got paid. Let's we're gonna protect you from yourself. Basically, what they need to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we're not gonna win anything. What are you
Ooh.
you know? So my main guy, I don't want to get hurt. You know? Yeah.
Oh. Oh my God. This is what you get when you get with Joe Rodriguez, man. One of my favorite people, because he's gonna tell you the truth. And so many people are scared to talk real in our space because, oh, I don't want one of the players to see this. I may be able to interview them. Oh, man, I don't care. Like
Right. Right.
Wanye Thomas was on one of my tweets the other day. Guess what, Wanye? I don't care. Like the special team unit sucks. I know you're a part of it. I know you're sad that Bones Fossil was crying. But the problem is this: instead of crying, let's get more discipline. Like if you guys were a little bit more disciplined, he wouldn't be crying. I know it was for an injury, but you guys wouldn't be one of the most penalized units in the NFL. Every game, the special teams is going to get penalized. Every game. And so
Yeah.
Wanye, I know but I mean, hey, this dude sucks. I don't care that he stumbled into Brandon Aubrey and Cavante Turpin. Great, good for him. That you guys aren't disciplined in the shows. But anyway, when you talk about this offense, it's 100% the offense. Now, I understood what Michael was saying when he said it sucks that, people don't know that we are really a good team or something along the lines of that. And he's right, Joe. Like, this team is not bad. What's happened is this defense has gotten stops, right? There'll be people who will tell you that I heard something today. Oh, Dan Quinn is better than Mike Zimmer. No, he's not. Like, Washington's defense isn't great. That's why they just traded for Marshawn Lattimore. They don't stop the run either. These are lies that is being told to y'all.
Yeah.
They're not. They haven't done anything outstanding.
Mhm.
Zimmer was giving this team, the defense is completely injured. He doesn't have what he needs. He had to call up on Eric Kendricks, he's having a down year to me. I mean, he's making tackles, but he's missing a lot of tackles. He's out of position. Zimmer is doing, honestly, the best that he can, to be real with you. He hasn't had Bland. He hasn't had his full defense out there. This offense has no excuse, from play calling to quarterback play. So many people are scared to criticize Dak. I'm done with it. Dak is the consummate pro. He's going to come. He's going to say all the right things. He's a great guy. The story is amazing.
Yeah.
But I heard something today. This team should be thankful that you were 3-3 with Dak. No, you weren't. You were 3-5.
Yeah.
He tried to throw away the Pittsburgh game. He did throw a game-winning touchdown. Cleveland didn't look good. The Giants game, we struggled. And in the rest of the games, it was all empty calories and interceptions at the wrong moments. San Fran, interception at the wrong moment. I think so. You have to start with the quarterback. And by the way, on a routine pass, this is a routine throw. He tears his hamstring off the bone. Gone. 8 months, Joe. Gone.
That's
gone, Joe.
Yeah.
That's the quarterback position. Let's start there. That's the quarterback position. Gone for 8 months on a routine throw. People act like you're talking a foreign language when you think about upgrading or drafting a quarterback. If you're in the top 5, there's going to be conversations about drafting a quarterback. I'm just here to tell you, I love Dak. I think he's been a great player. He's underachieved at times with great rosters. That's a whole nother conversation. I went back and really watched. We really got beat by Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G, Joe.
Yeah.
Then you turn around and get housed by Jordan Love. But another conversation. Let's talk draft. So that's Dak Prescott. Got to talk about the quarterback. I think he's had a great career, but it's not foreign to ask because, the same people who will tell you, man, these are the same fans, pay Dak, or he's going to go to the Raiders. Well, guess what? Now you have a quarterback who's had 2 major injuries in the last 4 years. 2.
Yeah.
And again, Joe, people act like it's foreign to talk about upgrading that position. Everything has to be upgraded. Now, the logical thing to do will probably end up being trying to fix the roster around him and making everything easy for him. Okay, cool. So let's talk about that. Running back position, we just talked about it. I've talked about it ad nauseum. Rico Dowdle, he's an undrafted free agent, not good enough. Deuce Vaughn, completely, it's honestly a joke and an unserious deal. You drafted him because his dad was in the franchise, and it's like, we're drafting players for sentimental value. What are we doing? We all try to make sense of the Deuce Vaughn pick. I mean, we talked the film and this, that, and the third. Bro, Deuce Vaughn is not big enough to play in the NFL. He never will be. He's not good enough to play in the NFL. He never will be. We have to live in reality. Then you talk about Zeke and you talk about Dalvin Cook. That room is awful. The whole room has to be remade, including Rico. He's not good enough. He's undrafted for a reason. I mean, the experts and people who scout are normally right more than they're wrong. Okay, so that's the running back room. Now let's go to the receivers. The receiver room is not good enough. Love Jalen Tolbert. I've never seen a guy who every time he catches the ball, it looks like he's going to get tripped up by his own feet. He doesn't make anybody miss. He doesn't play with any confidence. I'm done. Then you talk about Jalen Brooks. Shouldn't be on the team. He's not an NFL player. Unserious franchise. He's not an NFL player. cool route runner, good in training camp, Joe. You know, the training camp hype videos, he's catching everything because they're
Mhm.
not tackling to the ground. He gets in an NFL game, and there's literally no corner in the league who knows Jalen Brooks' name. There's not a corner in the league who knows Jalen Brooks' name. He does not come up on a scouting report. Then we talk about CeeDee Lamb, all pro, obviously a great player. Brandon Cooks will no longer be on this roster. Done. Brandon
Yeah.
Cooks is off the roster. So that's your receiver room. One good player, everybody else average or below average. Jalen Tolbert is below average. It is what it is. He's a wide receiver 4 at best. He's not, I don't even think he's a 3, Joe. Then we talk about the tight end room. And something that nobody's talked about, Joe.
Mhm.
Chase Ferguson hasn't been good this year. Like, what do you think about Ferguson, Joe? What am I off there?
I think he was definitely ascending, but this season, I think with everything that's going on around him, I think he fell into that trap of uh, half effort, you know, of that, and then now he's dinged up. He's gonna be one of these guys that's starting to get dinged up. Is he injury prone or whatever? So I think he just needs they need a clean house.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the coaching staff, bringing some guys here. Coaching makes a big difference. Like you said, there's talent in this. There's talent sprinkled in this roster, but the problem is the people building the roster. They're not football people.
Mm-hmm.
You trying to give them credit with the some of these all pros that they have drafted, but some of these draft classes have been horrible, man, and some of these roster moves have been horrible. Some of these trades have been horrible. Like
Mingo.
they don't know literally what they're doing, bro. And
Yeah.
that's why the roster is suffering, bro. Like you could pull somebody off the street and probably do better.
Yeah.
It's a disaster, bro. That's why it's scary, dude. If we have a top 5 pick, do we really trust these guys? Good picks, rounds 1 through 3. You know what I mean? Like you should be getting some impact players. These guys are gonna come out here and pull some stupid crap. Another tight end. What the hell? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So Joe, let's keep it going because, like I said the other day, I'm like, bro, like Brevin Spanford is not only outplaying Luke Schoonmaker, he
mhm,
looks right now better than Jake Ferguson. I mean, he looks like he has more juice, bigger body. So that's like a whole nother conversation. I'm like, man, is Jake Ferguson a pumpkin? Who knows? I mean, he hasn't been great. Hunter Lupke is hurt, right?
yeah, yeah,
So he's been like one of your bright spots. And then we got to talk about the line. Terrence Steele,
yeah.
I mean, I don't even want him on the roster anymore. Gonna have to correct that. Not good enough. Tyler Guyton, you could possibly move him to right tackle. I don't think Tyler Guyton has been as bad as people think. He's a left tackle going against a gauntlet of DNs, and he's playing a new position. I think that he's been okay. I think he could be better, Joe. What are your thoughts on Guyton?
Um, when we made the pick, I wasn't excited, man.
That's fair.
Some people were like, "Oh, yeah, I wanted him. I talked about him." I really was not excited about the pick, man. I was like, the guys that I wanted were gone. I was like,
Yeah.
please don't let me Guyton. And it was so I had to live with it. I was oh well, they're pretty good at drafting old linemen, but then I'm thinking like it's been a while since we've hit on a
On
really
a
good
lineman.
lineman,
Yeah.
man. These guys have the Midas touch. They really have. You know what I mean? Like that bread and butter. I mean, Cooper Beebe looks like he'll be. I believe he'll be good. Tyler
Cooper,
Guyton,
Cooper and Tyler Smith are your saving graces on the line.
yeah, Guyton. I think if it were me, I would move him to position at right tackle. Cut, make still your June 1 cut. You know what I mean?
Save that money.
And then get you a bad boy at the left tackle position. Guyton, I think he has the tools, but I kind of question his toughness, man. Sometimes I feel like why is he coming out of the game again? Is he getting beat? He doesn't like to get beat, so he gets hurt, or is it the coaching staff pulling him out? Like There's been like I think it's 3 times where he's been pulled out of the game for
Like right after he gets beat.
something. I'm like, is it? So I don't know, man. That's still up in the air for me on Guyton, but I would like to see him at right tackle.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, we could disagree there. I think that my thing with Guyton is just like you knew he was gonna be. This was an O line rich class, but he's gonna struggle at times. He has struggled at times, but I mean, I'm looking at Terrence Steele, who he's paid to do a job. He can't do that. Terrence Steele's been just awful. It's not. People think it was this game and the play that Daniil Hunter had. It's not that. Terrence Steele against Philly was terrible. Against Pittsburgh, terrible. Against the Giants, terrible. Like there's not been one game where you watch Terrence Steele and said, "Man, everything's clean over there."
You
You
can't
know,
keep
and
him. No.
yeah, and that's why we're asking Dak to run. That's why we're asking him to be more athletic because, like, damn, Dak, you're gonna have to step up in the pocket, dog. You got to create. This dude ain't getting it done. And so, yeah, you're gonna have to do something at tackle. And free, you're gonna have to spend some money at tackle.
This team needs to bring in some names at the coaching, the assistant positions. You know what I mean? Like if they bring in Vrabel, you know what I mean? Your O line coach needs to be somebody with badass credentials. A Mike Munchak or somebody of that ilk or whatever. It can't be like some unknown dude. You know what I mean? Or some
Mike
old guy
Solari.
like the one we have right now, Solari, Paul Alexander. These guys, they're not what the Cowboys are known for. Like they just didn't get it done here. You
Never
know,
thought I would miss Joe Philbin the way that I have. I mean, and but so anyway, all right. So Joe, now we talk about the draft, and we know the names: Shador, Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan. Some of the top names, obviously Ashton Genty. When it comes to the draft, and should the Cowboys draft offense or defense? Joe says what?
um, so you're gonna lose D Law, right? Unless
Yes,
he comes back on some kind of cheap deal, the ultimate cheap deal of cheap deals. But even then, he's so too many
he's
injuries.
injury prone. He's old. I mean, he hasn't played all year. He stepped wrong and he's been gone.
Yeah,
What are you
the
missing?
running back, the running back position. You definitely need something there. But do you want to use a top 5 pick on a running back?
That's the question.
That's the question. Wide receiver. There's no number 2. There's not even a number 3 on this roster. You know what I mean? Like you have Lamb, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like you said about Tober, the ship has sailed on Tober. He never became anything. It was all hype. Oh, he's
Mm.
making catches and can, but the dude just
No, he's not good enough. I mean,
not
yeah, he's
not
he's
good
in
enough.
he's flying out with Brandon Cooks. He's okay. He's with Dak in his backyard. Okay, he's not good enough. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the reality. So for me, this draft cycle is going to be pedigree, Joe. Like, name one player on this offense with pedigree. What do I mean by that? Me and you are draft guys. Dak Prescott, 4th round pick. He has 4th round pedigree. Like him, arm starting to look a little shoddy, lower half breaking down. 4th round pick. I mean, with Stafford still has a whip of an arm. He can
Mhm.
still throw the ball. Let's go to the receiver position. You talk about CeeDee Lamb, a 1st round pedigree. He's playing like a 1st round pick. Jalen Tolbert's pedigree is South Alabama, 3rd round pick. Guess how Jalen Tolbert is playing? Like he went to South Alabama in like a 3rd round pick. Jalen Brooks' pedigree. His pedigree was went to South Carolina. He didn't really do anything in South Carolina. He was just okay, right? Special team guy, try hard guy. Guess what he is in the league? Try hard guy, special teams guy. Oh, he's a great route runner. No, he's not. Just because he catches the ball, he's not a great route runner. He can't separate. He scares no DBs. That's Jalen Brooks. That is
Yeah,
your yeah. He can't
yeah.
separate. It's a joke. That's the pedigree for him. Ryan Flournoy, love him, but he went to a small school. His pedigree isn't good enough. You bring in Mingo. Mingo has 2nd round pedigree. Was it Bryce Young in Carolina? We don't know. You're not going to be able to evaluate him with Cooper Rush. Oh, by the way, you probably need to draft a quarterback. If nothing else, if Dak gets hurt again, you can at least have a competent chance at winning. it because you can't throw Cooper Rush. I never want to see Cooper Rush after this year. Done, Joe. He belongs in the XFL. He's terrible. He is Cooper Rush is the worst quarterback. It's actually a deal. He's like the worst quarterback in the league, literally. Like below Bryce Young, below Anthony Richardson. He's awful. And so you can't even evaluate. The sad thing is you can't even evaluate your team when your quarterback is throwing short of the sticks on third down. So that's the backup quarterback position as well. So that's you're gonna have to maybe the fifth round. You're gonna need to take a quarterback to, if nothing else, maybe not to challenge that because I think you need to build a team around him. I mean, you just paid him, but if nothing else, you need to have a competent backup quarterback. So then you start. We already talked about the pedigree of the running backs. Did we talk about the pedigree of the running backs, Joe? Undrafted. That's your pedigree with Rico Dowdle. Oh, Rico needs to be the one. He needs to be the cert. He's the bell cow. When has Rico Dowdle doesn't have 100-yard game in his career? Then there's people who argue me on Twitter and said, "Oh, his success rate is great."
Yeah, there's people that love throwing out the stats when especially when times are rough. They love throwing out stats. That means,
Yeah.
I those ones. Oh, look at the stats between Dak and Ron. Shut up, man. Neither of these guys won crap for us, bro. Like this is going to be the perfect time to rebuild and get a new regime in here and let them build a program where you see progress. You know what I mean? And I'm saying if you're in the top 5 and there's a quarterback there, get him. What be like the Packers, be like the Niners. Follow some of these teams that have a guy in place, pedigree. Like was a first round pedigree. We see what he's doing now. He's looking good, and a lot of these guys, there's going to be misses, but you're still trying.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is when it comes to the quarterback position, I just don't believe you let good be the enemy of great. Like, yeah, man. Oh, like Kansas City could have let Alex Smith just be there forever, or they said, nah, not good enough. Let's trade up and let's get a quarterback that's good enough. And that's what they did. And so I'm with you. You may bring in a regime. Let's say you want to have a coach here for 10 years. Do you see Dak in your plans for 10 years? Are you going to be drafting in the top 5, 1, 2, 3 again, Joe, for the next 10 years? No, you are not.
Yeah.
So, like you said, is there a chance that you draft a quarterback high? I mean, maybe. I mean, everybody's going to point to Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and Mac Jones and all these people. I get it. That's fine. They'll talk about Bryce Young, who was in a bad situation. I don't think the Cowboys situation is nowhere near as bad as those teams. I don't. The Cowboys have a few major issues. One of their major issues is they don't have enough good weapons. But even when the Cowboys did have good weapons, Dak still showed at times 4th-round pedigree. Like I said, the Cowboys lost to Jimmy G. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went to San Francisco and lost to Brock Purdy. Then you got housed by Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these teams had weapons now, Joe. These teams were the number 1 offense. So we can't always sit. We gotta be fair when it comes to that stuff. And now, by the way, he's injury prone. Like, that's a real thing. You can't let good be the enemy of great. I'm just saying, if you're drafting in the top 3, quarterback is gonna be on the menu. I'm not saying you take one, but it's gonna be on the menu. Now, that being said, Joe, just thinking about talking defense, I can honestly say there are a few names on this list: Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, that have piqued my interest of what I've seen. Because if you can, one of the few bright spots, right? DeMarvion Overshown. I still think for all the crazy stuff Micah does, he's still a cornerstone of this team. You are better with Micah Parsons than without. I don't care what anybody says. Now, you want to try to do a Herschel Walker trade? Cool. I don't even know if there's a team that will be willing to do it. But if you want to do that, great. But Micah Parsons is a unicorn. Even against the Texans, you saw his impact on that pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
Would one of those names, maybe an Abdul Carter, Joe, who I really like, really is a carbon copy in a sense of Micah. Would a name like that, maybe Ted McMillan? I mean, not Ted McMillan. I would love to have Ted McMillan. And you talk about top 5, you talk about receiver to pair with CD. Would a Abdul Carter or Mason Graham for you say we can just be really good on defense and just run the ball? What do you think about that?
Um, what I like about Mason Graham is he would be like, obviously Michigan's had a couple of D tackles that have come into the league that haven't done well. So, but when you look at Graham, his impact on the game is kind of like Hutchinson, right?
Hmm.
Like for Hutchinson, you have these other bust players on Michigan, right? Like Chaco Tarleton and some of these other guys that they've set in the league. But Hutchinson, Mason Graham, these guys are going to be impact players. You know what I mean? So I like them, but do the Cowboys go first round defensive tackle with their history? I don't see them doing that. They're
Yeah.
going to wait another 30 years for that to happen, probably. It's like Haley's comment, bro, with these guys. Like, it's going to be like forever for when you draft a quarterback in the first round. That Haley's comment comes every 60 years or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
That's that's, that's what Dallas does with some of these position groups. Like they're afraid of drafting quarterbacks in the first round. Defensive tackle, they finally did it, and safety, right?
Yeah.
So safety, they desperately need that.
By
That
the way, that Malachi Starks is so good. Like, and there's people like you said who will tell us, like they told us, Joe, there were
mm,
so many people. Oh no, you can't take Gibbs. Why? Why can't you? You can't take a running back in the first round. Well, Detroit traded up, and now all they do is run the ball down teams' throat. That's what they do.
yeah,
Then I'm looking at Malachi Starks, and I'm like you, Donovan Wilson, another June 1st cut, gone, bye, not good enough, unserious. When I start talking about this team, unserious. When I start
yeah,
certain players, I'm just gonna start throwing out that label, unserious. Donovan Wilson is now unserious when it comes to this team. It's a joke watching him play. Loved his effort for so many years. He just can't play anymore. It
yeah.
is, and again, let's talk about Donovan Wilson's pedigree. Fourth round pick.
Fourth round pick, missed a lot of time in camp. He started getting the injury prone tag, right? So he missed a lot of time in his career, and then he would make plays, but then he would get hurt. So not
Mhm.
consistent enough, for me. And in the division that we play, it's a lot of aerial attacks.
Mhm.
You got to have a good secondary in the NFC East. Cowboys, luckily we have Diggs, Bland. I want to see him back, but that middle, you need some guys there. You know, I
Mhm.
like Xavier Watts, Notre Dame safety.
Yes, Joe, you're on the one with him.
So he would be a guy for me. I would take a look at. But you mentioned one as well. So safety, I think, needs to be addressed here. I don't know. It's just we just have so many holes, man, and this team relies too much on the draft. They're gonna have to step out of their shell
In free
and get
agency.
an agent to plug one or two of these. You know,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I do think it can be done. I think there's a roadmap for the Cowboys to be good next year. You're going to need to remake the running back room. I think what you said, you're going to have to draft. If you decide to go offense, you need to get a playmaker. I'm done with Lyman. Don't want Will Campbell. He's on the ground too much for me. Like him, don't love him. And guys like Kelvin Banks. I think Banks is a better guard than he is a tackle for me, Joe. I watched him live a few times at Texas. I wasn't impressed. And I don't know if I want linemen from Texas. That's just me. Give me a
I,
lineman from Notre Dame. Give me a lineman from, Wisconsin.
mhm.
I don't want a Texas lineman.
I'm honestly the same. Oh, don't judge the helmet. I do. I do. Alabama lineman, get out of here, bro. But these guys, dude, like the mainstream draft guys, they always have these Alabama guys high, man, because they don't want to talk bad about them. But they suck, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, when is the last one that was good?
Yeah, I
Honestly,
don't even know if the guy from Tennessee is any good. Um, I'm with you. I'm
I
with you, Joe.
absolutely judge the helmet, man, because there's a history there. There's history behind the helmet, right?
Hmm.
So it's okay to judge the helmet. There's history there where their players, there's history there. So it's fine. Helmet. Oh, Caleb Williams. What's he doing now? He sucks. USC quarterbacks garbage as fuck.
I'm gonna tell you when it came to Caleb, I was by myself when I told people Not only would Drake may be better, but I saw things with Lincoln Riley at that off in that offense and the way he was letting Caleb play at USC, not playing on time, running around like you're in the backyard, just doing this stuff like that doesn't work. You're not
Yeah,
going to be able to run 10 yards around and do these Patrick Mahomes type plays in the league, bro. The hashes are shorter and everybody's good in the NFL. That's not going to work. You have to play on time. He won't play on time. He thinks he's larger than life. And I'll say this, when like what you said, when it comes to the right coach, I think the biggest issue with some of these quarterbacks and with these guys that get drafted, the coaches become fans of these kids instead of coaching their ass hard. Like that's a big issue I have. Yeah, oh, Caleb is gonna save the franchise. How? There's been no Chicago quarterback to save the franchise. I
yeah,
don't like Eberflus. Like coach him hard. Like be hard on him.
yeah.
Y'all rolling out the red carpet and giving into his dad's demands. Stop. And this is
Like,
exactly what he's doing. He's shrunk mentally, right? Like
yeah,
it's just too much. But Joe, at the end of the day, I'm with you. I think I would lean to draft an offense. And I think that if the Cowboys aren't going to draft quarterback, I probably wouldn't. It depends. If I'm in the top 8, you're not going to be able to draft a quarterback. But if you're in the top 3 or something like that, you have to have a conversation because again, every position has to be evaluated. Now, the obviously the red flag will be you just paid Dak all this money, you be developing a guy, and the writing will be on the wall, and then all this dead money and all that. So we know that he was just paid, but I mean, when you're drafting that high, everything is on the table. I told Washington fans they were foolish to draft Chase Young over a quarterback, over Justin Herbert. Foolish. And they look foolish. Chase Young is no longer on the team. They have a new quarterback who, by the way, looks pretty good, but he's already hurt, rib injury. So I'm just saying, like, you have to, when you're drafting that high, you have to at least consider it. But if you're in that top 6 range, whatever, and somebody else wants to come up and get a quarterback, maybe you get a great receiver like Ted McMillan, pair him with CD, and now the offense looks like it's better and back rolling.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, because you're gonna have a premium pick in your first 3 rounds.
Yes.
That fourth round trade for Mingo was terrible, bro, because that basically is like a late round 3. It's
Yeah.
almost like a third round because you're gonna be drafted way the hell up there.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about trading Parsons, dude. I have no faith that these guys will get value. We'll get ripped off, bro. We'll trade Parsons for a fourth round pick, bro.
Yeah, for a fourth.
Dude, they don't know how to trade, bro. We'll get ripped off. That's why I'm saying, dude, when trade deadline comes, I'm like, please, you idiots, don't do anything.
Yeah. And what do
Mingo.
they do? Yeah. Oh, bro, but I'm gonna tell you, it's
Yeah.
not. I'm gonna tell you, they got bullied by the fans. That's why I said the fans. As much as I hate Jerry Jones and Will's under fire, I don't like when the fans speak. The fans, oh, Dak needs to run. What happens? Runs, makes a few plays, rips his hamstring up.
Yeah, man. The quarterback position, man, it's just crazy thing, man. Like they either need to, get somebody to be the heir apparent, or they need a roadmap to get Archie. All right, so you start drafting for Archie, and then go all in, throw the kitchen sink, get him in here, in 26 or 27, whenever the hell he comes out, bro. The Manning tree, that's what you want, bro. That ain't
On
gonna
that,
happen.
and,
I'm just wishing. I know it ain't gonna happen, but I'm wishing.
no, this is a fun show, Joe. On that note, man, it was great to get back to work with you, man. We'll be talking throughout the rest of this draft cycle. It sucks that we're already in the draft cycle. We still have 7 football games. Like, notice I haven't said one thing about the Commanders game. You're gonna lose. You're 10-point dogs. You're gonna lose in Washington, and it's sad that it's come to that. But you have Cooper Rush starting. You'll probably roll Awesome Richards out there. Unserious. So,
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right. You'll see Awesome Richards out there.
yep. And and whoever else, is plays or isn't hurt. I don't even look at the injury report anymore. I'm so deep in the woods when it comes to the draft. So, Joe, thank you so much for jumping on, man. It's your boy Foots the King, guys. As always, Bet US, Bet US. This video is sponsored by Bet US. All your betting needs. Um, Obviously, NFL, like I just said, the Cowboys are 10-point dogs. I would stay away from that. Maybe they cover, maybe they don't. They'll make it interesting. And then I'm sure Cooper Rush will throw a pick or throw shorter the sticks because that's what he does. And he's a pumpkin. He's going to sit back there and take sacks. That's what he does. So it's your boy Foots as always, guys. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. Joe Rod, thank you for joining, man. Much love, brother. Peace.
Appreciate it.